בית ישראל, לכל העם, נקרא לזה הנבחר, העם הנבחר. היום אנחנו בו תוכנית של Israel בערוץ הטלוויזיה We Act, והערב יש לנו תוכנית מאוד מעניינת, התוכנית עם רוב סקיבה ועם ריק המר. Hello Rob, hello Rick.
Hello.
Hey
Good
guys.
evening, how are you?
Good. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat Shalom, yeah. Thank you very much. It's going to be a very interesting program because I believe that the Israeli people are really ready to start taking, let's say, next step to the second level, second gear. We're going to start from Genesis. What do you think, my friends? Let's start from the beginning.
Right. Start from the beginning.
Do you want to talk about some of the things that we're taught that we're learning to maybe be different, even in Genesis, from the mainstream teachings? You want to go down that road, or do you want to?
I think that we can talk about how can we take the words of what is written there, because you know the words are very 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 important. How you take them and how you how can I say the meaning. It can have double meaning. It can have you know what I mean. I mean when you take the rakia, yes, like a dome, okay, it can say a dome, but when you read it upside down, I mean it goes to the word ikar. It's like the main thing. Something main thing, you know. So it's so important, the Hebrew, how you read it and what is the meaning. What do you say? What do you think?
Yeah. I'm doing a series right now with Zen Garcia. I don't know if you guys have caught any of it, but we are on day 3 of creation right now. We've done 6 hours of radio together, and we've only gotten as far as the completion of day 3, which is like verse 13 of Genesis 1 in 6 hours. You know. So yeah, I mean, there's certainly a lot to talk about in that regard. Let me see if I can. I'm trying to do a lot of things at the same time here. Let me see if I can share my my other monitor. I've got my PowerPoint up on the screen on my side here. Just a second. And yeah, so can you see that on your screen?
Yeah.
That's the Hebrew word rakia in Strong's number 7549. And, you know, there are any number of online tools you can use, you know, concordances, lexicons, all kinds of stuff online you can use. So it's not like this is my opinion, okay? It's like words mean things, language 101, right? Words mean things. Now, for me, you know, my language is English. So Hebrew is not my native tongue. I took Hebrew 101 twice, so that should give you an indication of my aptitude for learning Hebrew. But I did learn enough, you know, that I can somewhat read it, and you know, for me it was learning the vocabulary. I just didn't have time to sit down and do all that. But you don't need to understand Hebrew to use these tools. Just go online and start looking at the tools, right? So, you know, we have so many tools available to us now at the tips of our fingers online. You know, if you're on the internet, you've got no excuse because you've got the whole world at your fingertips. And I like to use BibleHub.com or Bible.cc. It's the same website. They have a lot of great tools. Blue Letter Bible is another good one, and BibleGateway.com. And those are 3 that I always have up on my browser window. And so you can look at the Strong's Concordance. You can look at Brown's Drivers Briggs like I have on the screen here, and it tells you the meaning of the word. It's a solid structure, as if beaten out. And it comes from, this is the Bible Hub Brown Drivers Briggs. You can go to blueletterbible.com and look at it here, rakia, and see the same thing. You know, it's the extended surface, solid, expanse, firmament, Expanse, flat as base, support, firmament of vault of heaven supporting the waters above, considered by Hebrews as solid and supporting waters above. And it comes from a root word right here, root word raka. And
Yeah.
this word here means to beat or to stamp out or to overlay like sheets of metal, plating metal, stuff like that. So, I mean, there's no getting around this. It's a hard, solid structure. Now, a lot of modern scholars, both Hebrew as well as English-speaking scholars, I would say liberal scholars, are trying to rewrite history. They're trying to change the meaning of words and say that this just means expanse, as in the expanse of the gases of the air, air, gas, the vacuum of space. And there's nothing about the Hebrew and the root word from which it comes that would support that. And what I say is, look, if one of the arguments I hear is that the Hebrew language, especially at the time the Bible was written, only had something like 8,000 words. So the excuse is, well, they had a limited vocabulary. Okay, fine. Well, flash forward a few thousand years when you get to the Septuagint, the Hebrew scholars were taking their Hebrew Torah and translating it into the Greek language. Now, the Greeks had a much more robust, much, much, much bigger vocabulary base to draw from. Many of the words that we have today come from Greek words, right?
Correct.
And Latin and other languages. So when they took the Hebrew and they translated it into Greek, it gets even more emphatic that we're talking about a hard, solid structure. And I've got a good friend of mine named Peter who grew up in Greece and speaks Greek fluently. I love to just call him out of the blue and ask him questions that he has no dog in the hunt. So he has no bias that he's bringing to whatever he's going to say. I'll just I'll call him out of the blue and say, "Hey, Peter, what's stereoma mean?" And he proceeds to describe a very hard, firm structure, a support base, something you build something on, that kind of thing. It's solid, hardness, solidity. So after he described it, I said, okay, so in your mind, then, as a Greek-speaking person, when you hear the word stereoma, is there any way to justify that meaning expanse as in the air, gas, vacuum of space? Absolutely not. No way at all.
Possible.
And
Impossible.
Jerome, who translated, from the Hebrew and the Greek into the Latin language, into the Latin Vulgate, he chose the word firmamentum, from which we later get in English firmament. So in every way, from Hebrew through Greek, through Latin to finally English, there's just no way you can justify that, taking that word and spinning it off into, some kind of meaning that it's just, air, gas, and the vacuum of space.
Yeah. Well, it's, there is also a sentence that they say in Genesis. I'm going to tell you in a second. When you explain about the how he make the creator, let's say, because I cannot say now the word God, okay, in this particular
venue.
Yeah. So he said here Va'ikavu amayim. It's like the water are like line up,
making a line,
like making a line, like a sea level, like there is a sea level in the beginning. I mean, when you don't have an eye to see, I mean, there is nobody that can be a witness, yes, yet, not an animal, not of course not Adam or Eve or whatever. I mean, in the eye of the Creator, it's a sea level. I mean, water level. I mean, what more proof people need? I mean,
yeah.
Well, and water's a natural level. That's the other thing. I mean, you can look at it and observe it, scientifically, and you can test it. And one of the things that always gets me from just the science background, and really that's where Rob and I jumped into this. We started looking at, the actual scientific side as well as the scriptural. And Rob really gone deep into the scriptural side. And what I can tell you is that water um, the properties of water, no matter what size of puddle it is, should have some type of measurable curve if it's undisturbed. I don't care if you have to get down to the nano side of it or the tiniest of tinies. You should still be able to measure some form of curve according to the model in which they've taught us with the globe and the 24,901 mile circumference. And one of the things to go back to what Rob was talking about there and what you guys were talking about in the scriptures, the book Terra Firma. Rob, thank you for doing this. And my wife actually just ordered this book.
Oh, great book. Great.
Yeah, great. And I just find it interesting. I just brought it to my office for the first time today. And I thought, I'm going to skim through this thing. And I didn't even get a chance to do it. But I literally grabbed the book and I opened it, and it opened up right to page 150. And this is the first thing that I looked down at. It said, if our modern astronomers do not deny God, they at least appear by their writings to ignore his power, wisdom, and superintendence. Mm-hmm. They despise the true science of the Bible and substitute it for, they substitute for it the false theories of their own wayward fancy. Mm-hmm. This is great. They Wonderful. Do not seem to be aware that the works of the Almighty's creation are all made according to number, weight, and measure. That order, adaptation, and usefulness are combined in every part of his universe, or this universe. Man is fearfully and wonderfully made. That's in Psalms. The eye of a fly is as admirably designed as the mechanism of the sun in the heavens. Mm-hmm. For he, God, or Yahweh, or the Most High, looketh to the ends of the earth and seeth under the whole heaven. Now, how does God or the Creator look to the ends of the earth if it's a ball?
You got to wait for it to come all the way around.
I mean, yeah. But here, let me finish this, because it says the whole heaven, and then when he maketh a weight for the wind, yea, he maketh the waters by measure, when he made a decree for the rain, a way for the lightning of the thunder. So this is all in one verse here, and that's in Job. It's not even in Genesis. So if you go through the scriptures back themselves up with the way that he made this, and nowhere can I find Pluto in the Bible. Nowhere can I find Saturn in the Bible, except as a demigod.
Mm-hmm. You can find it in Disney.
Yeah. Exactly. So there's so much going on, and the war that's been waged on us has literally been, I truly believe, that Satan or the devil himself, or the fallen angel Lucifer, whatever you want to call him, depending on where you're at in your walk and what in your research. What I will tell you is our adversary has always used a conflict and a divisive nature, because it's true that no kingdom can stand that's divided. You just can't. It's impossible. And that's what he wants to do. He wants to divide man against man, and therefore getting us away from the truth. Because if we fight about something that we supposedly believe in, but it's not true, what are we really fighting with? We're fighting with our own pride. We're with our own understanding, and it's already written. That's the thing, is we're born into this. This was already something that he set up, something that he had planned before he even did the foundations of the earth. He even had people in mind of what he was going to do with them. So I look at this from a standpoint of that, here we are. We're we're really at an amazing time where the devices that we have, the iPhone, the mobile phones that we have, all of the information that we can have in the palm of our hand. If we really want to find something, we can. Now, although YouTube and some of the other folks are now changing their algorithms, that they're censoring the biblical creation research, if you want to call it flat earth. And Marcos, I love your shirt, by the way, photo or painting. I love that. That's great.
This is history.
It really is. This is historic. And I truly believe that in the scriptures, it says that in the latter days, that God's Spirit, Yahweh's Spirit, the Most High Spirit, will be poured out over all the nations. And I looked at that and I'm going, well, what is a spirit? What is the spirit of our creator? What is it? It's truth.
They tell us the opposite. And they teach us the opposite all the time. If
Yeah.
we see a flat horizon, they will say it's curved. I learned it from Rob. He said it hundreds of times, but it's true. And I saw it myself. They do 180 the opposite.
Yeah.
That's what they teach us. It's very sad, I think. Very sad.
It's chaotic.
Yeah, well, it's interesting because the thing is that when you preach to the people, when you have the power to preach them, it's very easy way to teach them after. That's it. It's preaching, teaching. That's it.
Yeah.
If I have your believings, I have your mind also. I can make you doubt everything that the Creator create.
Mm-hmm.
So this is how I see it. I see it if I have your belief system, I have also your thinking system.
Well, yeah, I was
have your
just
soul.
Yeah, please.
well, yeah, absolutely. I was just thinking about this the other day, and I apologize. I'm not a very politically correct person, so I'm just going to speak my mind. You know, because of evolution being pounded into our heads, we have this mentality that the further back you go, the more primitive they were. And I say to myself, okay, let's think about this. How smart are we today? You know, we are supposedly at the pinnacle of evolution. We are the high point. We're so smart we think we came from monkeys and we don't even know what freaking gender we are anymore. Okay?
It's a problem.
Now, this is what's really gotten me upset. Is like, I'm sorry if I am offending anybody out there, but it's not what's between your ears that determines your gender. It's what's between your legs. Okay? For 6,000 years of recorded history, nobody's had a problem with this. Nobody. Race, color, creed, religion, culture, didn't matter. Baby pops out, got something dangling down there. Hey, guess what? Congratulations, you got a boy. You know? No, you got a girl. Oh, if you want to get scientific about it, you got an X and a Y chromosome? Guess what? You're a boy. Got 2 X chromosomes? Guess what? You're a girl. But now science is trying to tell us that we've got 15 genders. This is directly contrary to what God said. Male and female created he them. Male and female. Across all of creation. All right? No animals have the problem with this, you know. And yet, we've got Bill Nye, the science guy, who's not a science guy. He's an actor. He's on TV, and you know, we are at the place where we have devolved. You know, the fact that I even have to explain this gender thing in the 21st century is proof of entropy in my mind. You know, but we've got these shows out there where this guy's trying to say, oh, we got 15 genders now. And California's got a bill on, I don't know if they turned it into a law yet, but they're trying to make this mandatory teaching from kindergarten forward. And so, you know, here's my thing. It's like, okay, if we can convince a healthy boy who has a penis that he's really a girl, is it really so hard to believe that they could convince us that we're on a spinning ball? No, it's not. You know, they put a globe in the classroom from kindergarten forward, and everything about science, and I'm going to say biblically speaking, science falsely so called, everything about that science, scientism let's call it, is directly contrary to what the scriptures teach. And I so appreciate that book that Rick Hummer held up earlier, the Terra Firma, because this is a dear old man, you know, at the tail end of his life writing this book. In fact, in the beginning of it, he's like, I can barely even see, you know.
Yeah, he's losing his sight.
Yeah, he was losing his eyesight. And yet, I mean, it's a 200-something page book that he wrote as a labor of love, defending the Word of God in, it was 1901. Okay, so at the turn of the century, this guy was a voice crying in the wilderness, taking a stand on the scriptures and saying everything about science that was developing in his day was contrary to the Word of God. And you can go back to the mid-1800s, you know, with Darwin and Huxley and, you know, Charles Lyell and that whole crowd, beginning the whole idea of, okay, geology, I see stripes in the rocks. That each stripe represents millions of years. No proof, no evidence, nothing. You know, oh, stripes, millions of years. You know, oh, the Colorado River must have carved the Grand Canyon out in over millions of years. It's like you could put a creationist and evolutionist at the rim of the Grand Canyon, look out, and the evolutionist says, wow, look at what the Colorado River did over millions of years. And the creationist goes, wow, look what the flood did in 10 minutes. You know,
Yeah, exactly.
you know, but you know, you could go outside with a garden hose right now in the dirt and carve your own Grand Canyon and see how that works. Or you could go back and watch footage of what happened with Mount St. Helens, you know, in I think it was Washington State back in the 80s, and it carved its own little Grand Canyon out there in a very short period of time. And you got polystrata fossils, they call it, you know, where trees are going through multiple stripes of rock. You know, so
Yes.
you like Ken Hovind's like, what, did that tree just stand there and sit and wait, you know, for millions of years while rock piled on top of it? No, the flood makes perfect sense, you know, in explaining the entire geological record. But you got Lyell looking, I think those stripes represent millions of years. And you got Darwin going, yeah, that's cool because I think we came from monkeys. Well, let's get together, you know. And you got Huxley out there, the bulldog, you know, proclaiming what these guys have to say. No proof, no evidence, nothing. Then you get to the 1950s, and you got Francis Crick and his buddy there diving into DNA and realizing, whoa, this is some seriously complex stuff. I mean, a cell is not just a blob of protoplasm. A cell is an extremely complex factory, you know, with lots of information required for that factory to work. And therefore, there's no way this evolved from random chance mutations over time. There has to be intelligence behind this. But no, we don't want to believe it's God, so it must be aliens. Well, if you've just proved that evolution is scientifically impossible here, what makes you think it's any more possible there? You know, if you just push it off to ancient aliens, well, how did they get here? You know, were they seeded too? Well, how did you know, eventually you got to get to a first cause. And that first cause is God. And
Yes.
if we just read the scriptures, he's telling us how we were created, you know, how this place was created, how everything was created, but everything is designed to get us off of the Word of God to the point now where we think we're on a spinning heliocentric ball hurtling through an ever-expanding universe, and we're so smart we think we came from monkeys, and we don't even know what gender we are anymore.
Yeah. Well, as long as you identify with that gender, you can be that gender. And I've tried this. I actually went to the bank the other day, and I said, I need my 1.8 million. And they looked at me funny, and they, what are you talking about? I said, well, I identify as a millionaire. So somebody should pay me $1 million right now. I identify as a millionaire. Where's my money?
Right.
And when they said, Rick, you got to leave, I'm like, it's millionaire. It's millionaire. My name's Millionaire. But, you know, when you look at how ridiculous the world has become, I think the biggest argument that nobody is really making from the science side is, where's your macroevolution? Mm-hmm. Where's your one kind turning into another kind? Mm-hmm. It's never been proven. It's never happened that one kind has turned into another kind. They always show us the same diagram of the chimpanzee slowly turning into a Homo sapien. They always show us that. They never show you the chimpanzee going backwards. Mm-hmm. They never show you what the chimpanzee was before it was a chimpanzee, mm-hmm. because they know they can't. Mm-hmm. They just get in your mind. And the other part is that by hiding God and by hiding the truth of the creation and our creator, you know, what you have to realize is what they're doing is you're not going to teach anybody about sin either. You're not going to teach anybody about what iniquity is and what happens if you go against what the Most High's instruction are and the consequences. Because, you know, when you have a jealous God, and he admits that he's a jealous God, that he wants us to have our full attention on him, you know, as our creator, that if we don't actually even know who he is, how can we even understand what we're supposed to abide by and how we're supposed to act and how what love really is?
Yeah.
Because even in the Bible, you can look at there's many scholars out there that, you know, they will tell you the word love is not there really. If you look in the original scriptures, you have to look, there's different ones. There's prorizo, I believe, and agape. You know, when you look at these different words, you have to, you know, go into these meanings and go, what is that? What is love? And the whole thing is if we don't know who he is, how can we love him? And how can we love what we're supposed to be and who we're supposed to be and what our job is while we're here at this time? And I truly believe that's been the trick all along, is that so the devil can just our adversary can literally get us to not even know who he is. that we would look over here, look behind us. We'd never look straight ahead and want to see his face. We'd never want to yearn to see his face someday.
You know, it's very funny, Rick, because when you talk about the monkeys, okay, that we came from monkeys. Okay, so what are monkeys that we are seeing, human beings seeing now monkeys? It's not developed as men's.
Right.
I mean, what is going on between us? I mean,
No, no.
it's like a big soup.
It
It's
goes
like,
even backwards. The gravity. Gravity was invented to, איך אומרים להצדיק,
to prove.
to
or
prove the balls
the ball.
flying.
Yeah.
Because things would fly away. So someone said, how can you do? So now they are turning you to the sun and not to God. The center of the universe is the sun. It must be a ball. We have to have gravity. And it's all bullshit.
Yeah.
It's all bullshit. It's plain and simple. It's written in the Bereshit Perek Aleph, in the first chapter of Bereshit.
Genesis. Yeah.
And it's what we see. Like it's very simple, I think, and I hope we can take the people a little more upwards, the stream to see the truth. It's very hard today, and with Google and everything, it's very hard. People don't want to know now.
Well,
Yeah.
when you take the power of the creator from the creation, I mean, it's very easy to add any power that you want.
Very hard. People.
Yeah, there's a guy you guys need to look into. I'm gonna put this up on the other monitor here. His name is Dr. James Tour, Tour. So you mentioned Google. Just go on Google and type in Dr. James Tour evolution and watch this guy's videos. He, from a purely scientific perspective, completely obliterates any notion that there is biological evolution at all. You know,
Yeah.
you could. I just discovered this guy doing some random searches recently when I was doing some research on something else, and I haven't watched all of his stuff. He's got a lot of stuff online, but the stuff that I did watch, I was like, wow. Because I mean, he gets down from a very scientific engineer perspective. Like, he builds stuff at the microscopic level. He's an engineer that builds things at the DNA size level. Of particles and whatnot. And he's like, we are taught this cartoon that, amino acids floating in a swamp somewhere got hit by lightning and fused together and it became a self-replicating cell. And that self-replicating cell eventually began to morph into, some kind of spore or something. And then the spore eventually decided to not be a plant anymore or whatever, and decided to be a fish. And then that fish eventually decided it didn't like being a fish, so it decided it's going to get out and walk on land. Okay.
This water stuff's boring.
Yeah. I mean, the monkey, the human side, put that aside. It is so absurd the further back you go. I mean, it gets worse and worse and worse. That this spore thing turned into a fish, and the fish decided, I'm going to start breathing air, which would require. How does that evolution work? Okay. The first time a fish says, I think I'm going to go out and breathe air, sticks his head out, he ain't going to live long. Yeah. And how does his fins start forming into legs? He's got to work on like, this requires the fish itself to start thinking about, how do I adapt to this environment? If it's all about adaptation and natural selection, right? The fish has to say, well, geez, there's not enough food here because it took an astronomical miracle for the amino acids to fuse into a self-replicating cell. And the miracles had to become even more exponential for that self-replicating cell to start turning into an organism, and then that organism has to eat. So what is the thing eating? It's like
hundreds of millions of years, hundreds
of millions of years. But
You're missing something.
Some of these things don't live very long. So it doesn't have hundreds of millions of years to find food. So it dies, and then evolution's dead. And so you'd have to have like at least two things evolving at the same time. The
And
organism.
sexes. You have to have two sexes.
Well, yeah, eventually. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
because you have Morpheus.
It doesn't add up. It doesn't add up.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's just the whole thing's crazy. The fish getting out of water in the first place is just insane. It gets even worse the further back you go than that. But then it gets out on land, and all of a sudden it starts growing into massively huge dinosaurs that
Yeah.
that then devolve into parakeets. Okay. They want to tell us that freaking T-Rex turned into a parakeet. Evolved into a parakeet, and then after the comet hit the Earth, there was this other branch of life over here, the mammals, that somehow survived, and those eventually got to the point of monkeys that turned into humans. So, look, I'm to the point now where people, they want to call me stupid for taking a stand on the Word of God. I'm like, you haven't taken a look at what you believe, because what you believe is exponentially, infinitely more insane than what I'm talking about. Like, you don't have the intellectual high ground in this discussion. You think you evolved from monkeys. You don't know what sex you are anymore, even though you could just look down and figure that out. And you're going to tell me that I'm stupid? No, I'm not going to take that anymore.
Well, Rob, what I think is, you take a normal person, and let's say that he is not in a good shape, and he's very sick, okay? And when he's very sick, he don't care if he's in a ball on space, or he's in a flat Earth or something like that. What he care is that the Creator hear him and give him more time in this creation. So if we take this as example, okay, when it's a dead or life situation, look, the person is able to let go of all the information that he's having just to be alive a little more in this creation. So I say to the people, you don't have to wait for this moment to be sick. You can be sick if you doubting the creation of the Creator. You are living sick. It's not healthy to live in an imagination, like Rob said. I mean, there is nothing to hold on. How a fish can now grow legs, and after grow a tail, and after become a monkey, and after become a human being, and after what? I mean, what is the next level of the
Evolution.
Evolution? I mean,
This is one creation.
you understand, because in Hebrew, why it's very important when I say healthy or sickness, because Bereshit, okay, Genesis, Bereshit in Hebrew, it means bari, bria, it's bari. Bari, it's healthy. It's something that don't have sickness inside. It's
Wow.
health. It's health. I mean,
Creation is health.
so if you are taking
the
the
meaning.
creation out as it is, there you have sickness. There you have all the problems that you can add to this, let's say, healthy creation.
So,
I mean-
Guy, let me get Marcos. What you guys said, that the word that you said means health.
Yes, bria.
Bria.
Bria means something healthy.
Tibria, it's
Wow.
be wealthy for a woman.
Now,
Bria.
okay, I give you a scoop now. When you say sickness, is machala. Machala, it's two words. Ma-chala. It's what happened. What happened?
What's the sickness?
What is the sickness? מחלה. מחלה, מה קרה? כאילו,
כן,
מח-
מחלה.
כן, it's all there. It's all there. I mean,
In the Hebrew.
you have to be very, very, I don't know the word. I mean, you have to have a lot of self,
חשיבות, importance.
no, I'm sorry. Now I'm confusing the Hebrew with the Spanish, with the in my head, and the English. It's like you have to have you have to take yourself as God to doubt the creation, the bria,
There
and
you
the
go.
healing.
You have to esteem
Goodness.
yourself higher than you are.
What you think, my friends?
That's
Yeah.
Take it on.
Oh,
the
the connection
that's
is
pride.
like
And
I
and
see.
I believe a lot of that is pride. It's, in the scriptures, Yeshua says, "Lean not unto your own
Can you hear
understanding."
us?
Yes. Yep.
Am I here?
Hello?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yep, I can hear you.
Yeah.
I don't know.
We're good.
I can hear you.
Yeah.
I'm zoomed way in.
I think they just dropped off.
Did they?
Yeah, they were. Yeah, they
Oh,
they
Yep,
froze.
they lost. Isn't that amazing? I knew that was going to happen.
Yeah, they froze for
Okay.
a second, then dropped.
Okay, let's get. They're calling me now.
Okay.
Think.
All right. Stand by, guys. Sorry. We are talking across oceans here.
Yes, we are. Flat oceans.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Oh, here we go. We got a call back here.
רומו של עולם.
There we go.
There we go. The connection was. You are adding Rick, Rob.
You know what? You're gonna have to add him.
Okay, I'm gonna add him. No
Yeah.
problem. I'm gonna add him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, someone don't want the
These things to be-
information goes out in Israel, so
Yeah.
they are messing with the.
Yeah. I wonder if I have to cancel the other call. Maybe I might have to close out the other call. Hang on. Looks like we're on both. Let me. I'll be right back. Hang on.
Okay.
Hey, Rick, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
They're trying to call you. They're trying to reconnect on a different call. So I'm gonna
Okay.
I'm gonna end this one and listen for them calling you back.
Okay, sounds good.
All right.
בוא לא ניתן
כן.
לשטן אוכל.
בוא לא ניתן להם אוכל. Oh, there you are, my friends.
There you are.
Oh,
רגע.
now you change the.
That was so-
Wait! I have to change the names.
oh,
No, it's okay. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it fast. No problem.
We could do a trick. I could walk off screen here.
No. You're off.
And I could come back in as Rob.
hi. How you doing?
Oh.
What's up?
Well, this is evolution.
Yeah.
It is a wow.
Well,
We're adapting.
hang on a second. While you're working on that, I'm gonna see if I can put something up on the screen because you're talking about the meaning of like Bereshit and stuff.
You want to do it again? You want to talk about it again?
No, I have it on my stream, so it's good. But I want to show something on my screen here.
Okay, no problem.
I was looking into the meaning of the Hebrew word rakia, and one of the things I learned when I was taking Hebrew was an idiom. They say if every letter has 7 meanings, the letters themselves, then every word has 70. Because what they were saying was, the Hebrew letters have numerous meanings, just the letters themselves. They also have numerical value, and then you have like what's it called, the sheresh, I think it's called, the 2 or 3 letter root, two or three letter root word, and so you have the meaning of the root word, and then when you add prefixes and suffixes to that root word, you have added meaning to the word, because of the prefix and the suffix. So I can understand the idiom why they say, if every letter has 7 meanings, then every word has 70. And so there's a Messianic Jewish chiropractor that I used to go to, and he has written a whole book on this. And in Appendix A of his book, he had this chart that showed what the letters mean. So like the Aleph, it has a numerical value of 1. It means strength, first, leader, God, beginning, etc. So you can look at a chart like this and take the Hebrew letters that make up a word, like in this case, rakia, and let me see if I can advance this slide. There we go. One of the first letter there, resh, is the highest, most important. The second one letter there, the last, final, future, and the third, work, and the fourth, see, understand, reveal. So if you took the letter meaning of rakia, the meaning of the letters that make up the word rakia, you could get a paragraph something like this: the highest, most important, last, final, future work to see, understand, and reveal. Like,
Gadol.
how crazy cool is that? Like, that's
Gadol is great.
the breakdown. Like, and it is the most important thing to reveal, because it reveals, Psalm 19:1 says this thing declares the glory of God. Like,
Yeah.
it is really important, and it's very high up there. So not only is it high up there in priority and importance, but it's also high up there in altitude, and when it's talking about the last and final future work, well, what's going to happen to the firmament in the last days? It's going to roll back like a scroll,
Yeah.
and that day when that happens, there's nobody going to doubt the firmament. There's nobody going to doubt biblical cosmology. There's going to be no question in anybody's mind when the sky rolls back like a scroll and we see what's up there on the other side of the dome coming down here. There's going to be no atheists, and there's going to be no doubters in biblical cosmology at that time.
No. Every knee will bow.
That's so. We are trying here in the channel. We act that live. We are trying to open eyes and logic, even logic, because in scientists you don't have logic. It's you can see clearly that it's a believing system. It's a believing. They make
Fiction.
it's fiction. Yes, it's like they having their result, and they are looking for other people like professors and everything to make the mathematics to this result. I mean, they are not reading the process. They are not reading the creation. They are like, I have a result, give me the math. I mean, it's like the government. I make you a problem to give you the solution that is the...
Yeah.
Well, what can I say? This is why I thought we have to start with Genesis, and after, of course, we're going to be here talking about government and control mind and all the lying, all the belief system, like Rob said before. Now they are confusing our kids, if they are man, if they are boy or girl. I mean, this is a abusing child. I mean, it's
abomination.
Yes, it's and the law is letting this happen. I mean, so now you understand all the supremacy and all the laws that the Supreme Court and everybody there are creating here a game that we are not part of the game. I mean, we are the tools. It's like, who asked you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And if we forfeit our control of the ability to educate our kids and raise them the way we want to, I mean, we're done. I mean, that's it. I mean, the stuff that's going on in California right now is just, it's mind-boggling. It's outrageous. It's if I was living in California, I'd be packing up and getting the heck out of there. Because the laws and stuff that they're trying to pass over there are just insane. I mean, between mandatory vaccinations, and they're trying to make it mandatory not just for kids in school, but for everybody.
Adults, everybody, yeah.
Everybody. Like, that's against the all medical ethics. You can't force a medical procedure on somebody, without their consent. But they're trying to make all of this stuff mandatory. And, people talk about the mark of the beast, and Tom Horn was the first person that I ever heard talk about the mark of the beast in terms of an injection, because you usually hear about the microchip, which is injected typically or implanted or whatever, or barcodes, or a tattoo, or various things. But he was suggesting that what if it's an actual DNA marker of the beast, and it's more blood related than anything? And I began to think, well, that makes perfect sense to me, because, as a Christian, I believe that I have salvation through the precious shed blood of Yeshua. Okay, so if, as a Christian, I believe that Christ's blood purchased my salvation in my eternal life, then it makes sense that the Antichrist would do the same thing. He would have an antithesis of that, whereby you end up purchasing a counterfeit immortality. And that's why, and that it would come through his blood. And so, when you think of transhumanism and the blending of species and all the things that go into vaccines today, and the fact that they're trying to make this more of a mandatory thing, and you have no idea what they're putting in you, frankly.
Aluminium.
Yeah, well, all kinds of stuff, mercury, all kinds of things, animal parts, baby parts, all kinds of stuff being put into you. And, you have really, unless you're a scientist that can analyze it before it goes in you, you're going to have no way of knowing what it is. And so, they're prepping us for willingly accepting this whole idea of, yeah, go ahead and stick whatever you want in me. And if you end up sticking the mark of the beast in you, you're not redeemable after that. Scripture talks about a time where people beg for death, but death flees from them. Everybody talks about the mark of the beast as being, just buying and selling. Well, yeah, that's part of it. You can't buy or sell. But what about the part where death, you're begging for death and death flees from you? There's more to the mark of the beast than a barcode, and so, I'm looking at these things going, man, we've got to start taking a stand now, because things are happening that are setting a precedent, setting a stage for things to come, and it's not going to be good.
Yeah, this is
You know,
what
it's oh no, I was going to say, to add what Rob just said is, when we were created in flesh, and it says that when Yeshua comes back, or there'd be no flesh left. Once, and we've not talked about this part of it yet, but I think there was a war on the genetics of man from the beginning, and that was the whole Nephilim. That's where the sons of God took upon them as many wives as they chose, bear children, which that's where we get, the giants, the Nephilim. So when we look at this, there's always been a war on our genetics,
Mm-hmm.
and it says that there's life in the blood,
Mm-hmm.
and if the blood has been tainted in any way, shape, or form, then the genetic code has been changed, and therefore it's no longer flesh. It's now strange, or it's perverse. It's been changed and altered, and it's no longer how he made it. And I truly believe, I think you're onto something, Rob, that it's deeper than just a biochip. Let's not forget the word biochip has bio in it, which is biology. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, here we go. I mean, we're looking at something that's altering, the way that we were made, the way that this thing ticks inside, the way that this brain works, the way that the electrical system can go and keep everything working, even in the involuntary muscle side of things. I mean, I can sit here and fall asleep, my heart still beats, I still breathe. I'm not sitting there doing that consciously. But whatever they're doing and whatever their plan is, it's definitely to not have us the way that we were created.
Mm-hmm.
And when I say they, I'm talking about those that are working with the adversary. I'm a true believer that those that are doing these things have made a pact with our adversary. And it's the same adversary that tempted our Savior in the desert. It's the same adversary that did the same thing to Adam and Eve. And I do believe there are men today. I truly believe this, that there are men today that are in cahoots with the devil himself, with the adversary. I truly believe that. I believe that if there's nothing new under the sun, what, did Satan just quit going and tempting people? Did he just quit going and doing his thing once Yeshua gave up the ghost? No, I believe that he's doing exactly what the scriptures say he's doing. And he's raising himself up as a God and as the Most High. And, he wants people to follow him and do this. And let's not forget, when he tempted Yeshua in the desert, he said, I will, and he showed him all the kingdoms. It says he took him up to a high point, and he showed him where all the kingdoms were going to be in the world. He said, I will let you rule over all of these. You're going to get to rule over all of these. If you just bow, but you're going to have to bow to me.
Mm-hmm.
That's not ruling.
Well, Rick, you are so right, and now you can see it on Netflix. You have the Lucifer series. I mean, it's so sexy and so tempting and so, oh my God, it's cool.
Beautiful.
It's good to go with Lucifer. I mean, and when you talk about Adam and you talk about blood, well, let me tell you that in Hebrew, Adam, there is also two words. You have Aleph, the A of Adam, and Dam. Dam, it's blood. And A, it's like the first line of blood. Aleph Dam. It's like the first line of blood.
The A line.
A blood. Yeah. Now, take it like this. Yeah, dear Rob and dear Rick. Think about it. People all the time say that blood is more than water. It's more
Thicker than
yeah.
water.
Now think what they are doing to the blood. They are making it more liquidly, more.
Less thick.
Yes, let's. Yes, of course. I'm sorry. I'm all the also exciting. So
It's all good.
yeah. So of course that this it's the blood. I mean it's nothing else. It's not the body. It's not. And when you take the mind of the people and you say to them, okay, you are from monkeys, and like this and like that, and you live on a spinning ball that spin four different levels of speeding. I mean, oh my God, it's.
Oy vey, oy vey.
I'm tired of all this. Of all the non-spinning, I'm so dizzy from not spinning. Yeah. Oh, now you're spinning.
Rick's spinning. Well, how does people say, well, okay, Rob, if it's an injection, then what about the buying and selling? Well, they're already starting to implement it. If you're not vaccinated, you can't come to school. And they're going to start saying, you can't come in our business. You can't come to our store.
It's happening here in Israel, Rob. Now that it's happening in Israel, they are making from this year from the first grade to the 12th grade, they are putting now transgenders to explain what is transgender and how you have to accept them. How can I send my kids there? How?
Yeah.
You can't.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, these kids are young. They're impressionable. They go to school, because they trust their parents that they, if the child trusts the parents and the parents take them to school, then the child trusts that the school is a safe place to be. So then they look at the person at the front of the room telling them stuff, and they think, well, that person's trustworthy too. So we willingly go through this thing based on trust, and we're turning these people over to the devil. Is exactly what's happening, because they are putting seeds in these kids' minds. We have a relative, let's just say, and this person, young person, said, gender is a spectrum. Okay, that's a very specific phrase. Gender's a spectrum? A child doesn't come up with that. A child was told that. A child begins to believe that. And then, well, okay, you really feel like a boy? Well, maybe you are a boy. Or you really feel like a girl? Well, maybe you are a girl. And they start putting those ideas in their head. And then what needs to happen, okay, to make the transition? Okay, and like I said, it starts up here. Something's going on up here. And there may be, to be fair, there may be hormonal issues going on too because of the foods and stuff that we eat. You get kids off of their mother's breast milk and put them on formula, especially a young boy. These formulas are full of soy, and estrogen. So at a time when this boy's early development should be testosterone based, he's getting overloaded with estrogen. So I can understand how there can be hormonal issues that translate into emotional and mental issues and confusion. So I'm not coming against people here. I'm saying, look, you need to get help, okay? Look down between your legs and see what's down there. That's going to tell you. And if you need to go with scientific, see if you got an X and a Y chromosome or two X chromosomes. There's the science, okay, to tell you what you are. Now, if you don't identify with that, then let's address that. Because when they're what they're doing with these kids, if the kid says, well, let's say the child is a female, but it feels like a boy. Okay, well, you feel like a boy, so let's start fostering that feeling for you, and here's some, hormones for you to take to be more manly. Well, why don't you give them more hormones for what they're genetically created to be? If there's a hormonal imbalance to begin with, like if it's, let's take the estrogen issue with the boy. The boy starts feeling more like a girl. You don't give the boy more estrogen, more female hormones. You give the boy more testosterone. You give the boy more things that would help him mentally, physically, emotionally to identify with what's between his legs, what he was created to be. But they don't do that. They don't do that. I mean, and it's going to get to the point now where, with this transgender, not just transgender, transhuman situation, where I feel like I identify with a freaking unicorn. I think I'm a unicorn. Okay, well, let's start giving you horse treatments, and we'll implant a horn in your head. Here's a clue, guys. If you have to chop body parts off and glue other stuff on, you're not really that thing. No. You're just not. You're a mutilated person who needs help. We can't let this happen. I mean, we're seeing it happen with our own relatives going through school right now. That are having some of these questions in their head. It's like,
it saddens me to see these parents that are doing this to a 5-year-old kid, that they're literally changing this child that has no bearing, has no idea what menstruation is, what puberty is yet. I mean, any of that stuff, nothing. And to do this to a child, I'm telling you, this is the evil, this is the sin that we're not taught. That they're leaving sin out of our education. How wise can any man be if he doesn't know the Most High, if he doesn't know what he's saying the standards are to live by? Where's his wisdom? And if he's not even afraid of letting the Most High down, his wisdom can't even begin, because he's not going to have any fear of the Most High. And if he has no fear of the Most High, he's going to act like it. And they're going to teach their little girls that they can be boys, and their little boys that they can be girls. And the other thing that we haven't mentioned yet is, don't forget that one of the main images for the satanic community, or the Antichrist community, is the Baphomet. Mm-hmm. The Baphomet has both sexes. It's got the boobies and the danger.
Yeah.
I mean, what's going on here?
Yeah.
They're putting those statues up around the United States right now, and I know that they've done it in other places. We used to have the 10 Commandments in our courthouses here. That's abominable. Mm-hmm. To the United States ways of thinking. And I'm going, wow, this is crazy. And the more that I watch this, and Israel, I say this to you, to all the Israelis out there, you better do your history. You better know your history. Yeah. When I hear the word Jew, I'm like, well, what tribe is that? What tribe is it? If somebody says I'm a Jew, well, what tribe are you from? Where's your lineage coming from? I think that Yeshua was addressing Israelites. I think that's who Moses was talking about, was Israelites. So, when we go back and look at this, it's like, guys, if you don't even pay attention to why you're even on that land right now, if this is even the real Israel, which there's obviously a lot of debate on that. Yeah. When you look at this and you go, wow.
Rick's going all out now. We're talking to Israel here, so we're just gonna go.
No, it's great. Rick, don't stop.
Okay,
don't stop.
okay.
Don't stop.
Yeah.
Please don't stop.
Do you know who you are?
Yep.
Do you really know who you are, or have you been indoctrinated your whole life to say that you're above all these other people down here? Mm-hmm. You could meet me on the street, you would know. If I have on my yarmulke, if I have on my hat, if I've got on my tzitzits, if I got on all these things, you'd treat me great. But if you found out that I wasn't, you'd call me a dog. Well, and that's a bad thing. I mean, when you really look at it, you're trying to say, here's my thing. And I'm not anti-Israel here. I'm saying that know what you're being taught. Mm-hmm. Don't let anyone deceive you. Go after the answers yourself. Because if we're talking about science here, and it bothers me that I see these little kids being told that they're not special. Yeah. That they're being taught that there's no creator above them that loves them, that had them in mind and very special, that they're going to be that they've got a place. They had a place in his mind before he even made the foundations of this place that we call Earth or home. And I look at this and I go, wow. I mean, You talk about the brainwashing, the indoctrination, and the programming that's gone on. And, you know, the people at the top that are making these decisions, they're never going to be at my house at a backyard barbecue. They're never going to be there. And most of the people watching this right now, they're not going to be at your house either. George Carlin was a comedian. There's very, you know, years ago, he said, it's a big club and you're not in it. And no, you're not in it. And right, good. I'm glad you're not in it. Because really, ultimately, the people that are in that club, they're going to have a very high price to pay. A very high price to pay someday. And their knee is going to be on the ground just like mine is, like when Rob said, when the sky opens up. So when I say to Israel, do you really know who you really are if you came from a monkey?
Well, this is why we do this channel of telling all the truth. And you can imagine, my dear friends, that the government and everybody is looking after us, what we are doing and why. Because we are talking, you know, also with Jordan Maxwell and of course David Icke and all our big friends of mine. And as David Icke, take an example, he's not allowed to go into Israel.
Yeah.
I mean, why? Because he's saying that there is a Zionism that took over Israeli people. I mean, the Israeli people are suffering from the Zionism, and now they are starting to wake up as a flower, you know, that opened. But this is why we do this channel to put the truth on the table and to say, okay, no more games. We want to live the nature, and we don't want to control the nature. We want to liberate the nature. So like this, we can liberate ourselves. I mean, that's the point. No names, no number. I mean, what is the difference when if you have a number of your on your ID or you have it on your arm here? I mean, what is the difference? What's the difference? It's not different. It's like a barcode. It's like you said, it's on the blood. They want to crack the blood. They want to break it because they want the blood not to be more than water.
Watered down.
Well, we as Israelis, we divide into three. Zionism is a political movement. This is one thing. The Jews are the Jews as a religion. We are all Jews in all the world, Jews that we know. And there is the Israelis, the people who live here in Israel today. The place we call Israel, Arabs and Jews, that's Israel. So, and we know that by the UN, Israel is the country of the Jews, because every nation has a country. The Jews never had one. That's what the logic said. Okay? So that's our identity as Israelis. We are here in the turmoil like you. Exactly. The same, how do you say it? The same turmoil. If the world is like this, it's fake news, not fake news, flat. We are in the same swamp, like Trump said. I hope we can get out of it successfully at the end. I hope so, and I think we will have the opportunity to do that, but only together, not as Muslims, Christians, and three religions under one God. These three gods are not true. You understand what I'm saying?
Well, the Zionism thing is a huge issue. You know, Christians are brainwashed into the, you know, can a nation be born in a day? Yep, May 14th, 1948. Support Israel. And okay, they're reading Isaiah 66:8. I'm like, okay, read 4 verses later. It says, peace will flow like a river from that place. Question: have we had peace since 1948? No, we've had anything but peace since 1948.
That's it.
And
more wars. more killings,
Yeah,
more blood.
because it was all done wrong. It was done by Luciferianists, Illuminists, Zionists, Freemasons, the United Nation. It was not done according to Scripture. And this was a huge wake-up call for me because I was one of these, big rah-rah support Israel. Of course, we got to identify, like we've been talking about, who/what is Israel first. But let's talk about that plot of land in the Middle East where you guys are sitting right now. And I understand not everybody in Israel has embraced Yeshua as the Messiah. I get it. I understand that. But let's just look at the Tanakh, the Old Testament, what we call the Old Testament as Christians. Okay? Let's just look at that. Read Jeremiah 23. Read Jeremiah 30. Read Jeremiah 31. Read Ezekiel 37 through 40. Read the entire book of Hosea. And then read Isaiah 65 before you start quoting 66. Because all across the board, it says, Yod-He Vav-He, the Creator, is going to do this. He is going to do this. He is going to establish the nation of Israel. And over and over again, people try to say
it's not written in the Bible. It's not written that Israel have to make a country.
Yeah, it's going to happen when He makes it happen. People want to say, well, God could use Cyrus. He can use a pagan to make it happen. So, of course, he could use the Zionists and the Freemasons and the Illuminists and the United Nations. Well, if he's going to do that, he tells you when he's going to do something like that. What is it? Amos 3:7, I believe, is the address, if I remember correctly. He says, I will not do anything except I tell the prophets first what I'm going to do. So when he used Cyrus, he had already told through his prophets that he was going to do that. He already said that he was going to do it that way. But when you talk about the establishment of that nation, the regathering of all the tribes, people, you hear the word Jew and you just think, oh, that's all the people in the Old Testament. No, that's one tribe, Judah, one of 12. You got the whole rest of the gang out there. That's everybody. And he says, when you go through Jeremiah 23, 30, 31, Ezekiel, Hosea, Isaiah, he's talking about gathering the whole thing, the two sticks of Ezekiel, right? The house of Ephraim / Israel, which is the northern kingdom, and the house of Judah, the southern kingdom, two sticks going to come together as one, and he is going to bring them back into the land. He's going to do it. And when he does it, if you read it in Jeremiah, it's going to be, many people liken it unto the second Exodus, that it's going to be so much more profound that people, the Exodus of Moses, if you actually read that account and look at what really happened there, that was a significant, no Hollywood blockbuster has even come close to depicting what really happened there. That was a significant event. But what's coming is going to be so much greater that people are going to be like, they're not even going to relate to the older account because it's going to pale in comparison to what's coming. And that hasn't happened yet. In fact, if you read Isaiah 65, it talks about when somebody dies at 100 years of age, they're considered a child. It's where the wolf is laying down with the lamb. It's a millennial reign context, and that has not happened yet. So the reason why we have so much turmoil in the world right now is because it was done apart from God.
Well, let me tell you, I take you back to the 1948. Okay, it's 4 of May. Okay, the plan was that Israel, like David Ben-Gurion, was the first minister and first blah, 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 Zionist, of course, very, very big Zionist, have to announce about Israel in the 5 of May. Why 5 of May? Because 5 of May is the birthday of Rothschild, who was promised the land of Israel.
Right.
It was in the Balfour.
The Balfour, the Accord, the Balfour.
Yes. It was promised to the Rothschild, not to not to a political
Jewish people,
not a political person, a banker.
Yeah.
What the hell?
And
exactly.
Guy, look at it this way too. The Rothschilds on that end, but the United Nations is who put this together, correct?
Of course.
Okay, but where the United Nations is an establishment in New York, but where did they get the land? It was donated by the Rockefellers.
Yes, of course.
More bankers.
Well, when you follow the dots,
yeah,
you see the picture. And now you ask yourself, okay, why Ben Gurion, yes, uh, didn't wait for the 5th of May and do it in the 4th of May.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Now you start to understand when a Zionist have a potential or a window that he can say, I'm a ruler now. I'm not following your all what you are going to say to me. This is what happened also with Hitler. He also was from a Rothschild tree of family. You understand? And he led the Zionists in those days in 1933. He was the one. The Zionists are the one who said, "Don't buy things from German." Before the Germans said something about Jewish. You understand? And when you see those facts that they are not teaching in school, and what you see now, what they are putting in school, you understand what they did to the generations. This is why it took to Moses 40 years, okay, go to the desert. Why? Because he wanted to release, to take off the Israel people, the working class. I mean,
One generation.
one generation
One
died
generation.
and new one entered to Israel, not the generation of slaves.
with a
You-
slaves mentality.
And,
Yeah.
and- but this is what they are doing now.
It's a
This is what
refining
they are doing now.
process.
Now they are taking us all back to Egypt. You can see in all over the world, you can see pyramids, you can see obelisk, you can see all the things that also Rob Skiba said, and you said also that you can see monuments with teeth, a male with teeth, and you know, it's all a nightmare. It's all a nightmare, and I don't know. I'm asking you guys what I'm doing wrong, maybe, that I'm not having to wake up thousands of people every day. I mean,
Have
what
you
I
ever-
what I am missing? What I'm missing?
Guy, let me give you some encouragement on that, because I just had somebody ask me this last night. Like, how come more people don't listen to me? He's pretty new into the faith, and flat Earth is what kind of brought him into the faith. Him actually seeing that the science that he trusted all his life and the textbooks and the tests that he took, he finally had to admit that he had really good grades. He had great grades. He could repeat everything that he read, that somebody else gave him the book to read. He was so good at that, memorization and writing this down and able to write things out in an essay. But then when he started looking at it with his own senses and with his own God-given eyes and ears, he realized that something was wrong. And he realized that, well, wait a minute, what is this? And he said, how come more people won't listen to me? Look at me. He goes, I watched you go through all these different things, and I've seen people talk about you, like your people that call you friends are talking bad about you behind your back. And I go, we all get that. We're all going to get that when we start changing how we look at things and talk about things. And he goes, well, but how come more people won't listen? And I said, well, when's the last time you went out on a fishing boat and threw your line out in the water, and every time you threw your line out in the water, you caught, a dozen fish? Well, when's the last time you did that? Usually you have to cast a lot before you can do that, unless you're at a stocked lake. And I said, so you're fishing. Our whole life is to plant seeds. You're never going to get the masses. If the scriptures are flat out telling you that the masses will be deceived, then this is a test. This is a numbers game. This is not about becoming popular. This is not about taking this and making this the coolest thing ever. This is about breaking down the programming. I mean, I don't know if you guys follow the scriptures all the way through from Genesis to Revelation, but what I can tell you is that Yeshua said that they're going to hate you for my name's sake. Just for mentioning my name, they're going to hate you. Now imagine the people that think that Yeshua is nothing, that he's a clown, he's this, he's that, or whatever. He was just a painting. Well, I'm going to tell you right now, that's one thing. But you start breaking down that they don't get to have aliens, and that they don't get to continue to sin, and that there's no consequence of sin, and that there's a judgment, and that there's going to be a kingdom that's yet to come, and you start telling them this, I can tell you right now there are people that are probably listening right now. They've been punched, they've been hit, they've been told to get away, they've been xed out of other people's lives for actually saying these things. And the persecution hasn't. I don't even think the persecution with what we're doing right now has even come close to beginning yet. Because the system that they're setting up right now, that they can tell a young boy that he's a girl, if he feels like being a girl, we can go and we can change that for you so that you can wear high heels just like mommy when you're older, and no one can say anything to you about it. That if you actually realize where we're at right now, and that we're looking forward to doing that we're looking forward to having such a perverse society that goes against the will of our Father and how he made us, I would hopefully, some of you would want to get a round trip ticket to go visit Sodom and Gomorrah and break the rocks open and take a lighter with you and set those rocks on fire, because I've seen it done. Mm-hmm. That place will still burn today. And that's what's coming to the entire world, according to the scriptures. There will be a refining process on the way. Nobody wants to hear that, let alone do they want to hear about Jesus Christ or Yeshua HaMashiach. They don't want to hear the truth. And even the people in the flat earth community, they're only going to take it so far. There's so.
Yeah. Well, Rick is stuck, I think.
Yeah, Rick got stuck.
Rick got stuck.
Yeah.
I add him again. Okay,
there he is.
Here you are. You are back. Well,
okay.
Dear friends,
no, I don't know where it comes up, but I'm just saying where we're at right now is what we're seeing is we're seeing it all unfold, and I'm telling you, I'm seeing it clear as day that there are certain folks that call themselves truthers, but they won't take it to the full level. And I've heard people knock down the scriptures. I've heard them knock down the Old Testament, and all I'm telling you is that there's a lot of historical relevance being ignored. And they're definitely ignoring the prophetic side. And the prophetic side is going to come to pass whether or not they like it or not. And the persecution is going to come. You guys are literally, I believe you guys are partly in the belly of the beast right now, as far as the, you are.
Let me tell you something, my friends. You are so right, because I feel like I'm in the heart of the flame of very, very hot fire. I'm going to tell you why, because I'm an international producer in music, and I never in my life imagined that I'm going to open a society channel that all the people can see, television and everything, and interviews. And when I did my research, when I start before 20 years, I mean, my teacher was Dick Gregory. I mean, a very big figure in the world. I mean, he was the right hand of Martin Luther King. I mean, I had a very big honor to learn from him and to see what is truth and what is not truth. Mm-hmm. And I can tell you that what we are doing now, and the people that are watching now and watching those researchers like you and like Rob and like more beautiful souls. This is the answer for all this heat that I'm feeling inside in this fire. Take a look. Israel it cannot build now a government. They cannot. Twice they are trying to make a government, and they cannot. They cannot.
People are awakening.
People are really awakening. I mean, if you see the percent of people that go to vote in Israel, I mean, something is opening here. And I see it as a window for the goodness really go in and go out. And I'm feeling a little cooling in this middle of the flame of fire. But Israeli people are really suffering from the Zionism and what is happening. Now they are intending to copy the Vatican to Israel, to Jerusalem. I mean, this is something that Shimon Peres from Israel signed to the Pope in 1994. I mean, if you remember this, I mean, what is going now? It's a really, really, Rob and Rick, I'm telling you, we are really suffering here. They are taking the children from the fathers, the family court. You don't know. We have 300 fathers that fighting for the kids. are making suicide because they are tired of
A year.
fighting every year. Yes, every year, 300 of fathers that fighting for their kids in the family court. They commit suicide instead of continue fighting. I mean, you have to understand that to the Israeli people, they are making the worst of the worst of hell. And well, I can tell you that I'm fighting also for my kids, and I will never stop, of course. But this is why I'm getting the power, because I try to wake up others, and this is what gives me powers to continue. I mean, it's a nightmare. It really, Rick and Rob, it's a nightmare what Israel, the people of Israel is having and passing through the Zionism. I tell you this honestly. We don't want to fight with Arabs. Of course not. We call them uncles. Like, not uncles, like
Cousins.
Ben Dod.
Cousins.
Cousins.
Yeah.
We call them cousins. I mean, and we work together with Arabs, you know. We don't have
Every
problem
day.
with Arabs. We don't have problems.
Yeah, it's the government that is trying to force. As I understand it, you guys have to. You have mandatory military service, right? When you're turn 18, I
Yeah.
think. Yeah.
We all
It's
work.
obligate. It's
Yeah.
obligate.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're
Yeah.
obligated,
Yeah, you don't have a choice. Here, we had the draft where you didn't have a choice, in the 60s and whatnot, but now here it's voluntary. But I went in the military voluntarily and served 8 years. It wasn't until I got out of the military that I started to understand what was going on with our government. And I don't know what it's like over there, because you don't have a choice. You got to go. But here, we joined the military. There are a lot of different reasons. Some people do it for college benefits and whatnot. Some people don't have any other choice. They get nothing. But the people that I knew, the people that I served, we had a belief, many of us, in God and country and family. We signed up to protect what we loved. But that's not what we're serving for. In reality, that's what we go in for. That's where our heart is. But then our government sends us to places that have no constitutional right for us to be doing that. Put us in wars. That it's just we're guarding opium fields now. We're not fighting for the things that we sign up for. That we believe we're, God, country, family, rah patriotism. Chuck Missler, I heard once say, patriotism is just 20th or 21st century idolatry. I feel for you guys out there, and the whole thing was designed. You go back and, some people say this letter was a fraud, but I don't think so. Albert Pike, Manzini, the 3 World Wars letter, it was written before World War I. Okay, so whether it's a fraud or not, whoever wrote the thing wrote it before World War I. And World War I played out exactly according to the script. World War II played out exactly according to the script. And we are well underway for World War III, right on the script. I would contend that World War III started on 9/11. Because look at the world, since 9/11.
Well, let me tell you why it's not a fraud. Because it calls Balfour Declaration, not Rothschild Declaration. So Balfour was a figure. I mean, he was a Zionism figure. You understand what I mean? So it's a really authentic document, as Benjamin Herzl was a real Zionist, and when he write his diaries, Herzl, that he was a Zionist, he said, "I'm not Jewish. For me, I'm not Jewish. I'm Zionist." You understand what I mean? I mean, and you have declarations of American people in the government or the Senate that they say you don't have to be Jewish to be a Zionist.
Joe Biden.
I mean, Joe Biden, and you have more. Mm-hmm. I mean, then you see that it's really, there is an agenda, there is a group, and you are not a part of it. Thank God, of course.
Yeah, absolutely. The whole thing's a scam, and unfortunately, we are the pawns that are being sacrificed for it. But one of the things that opened my eyes to the Zionism thing, because many Christians are Zionists because they're all about supporting that Zionist agenda and the Zionist state and all of that stuff. But I saw, as I started reading the scriptures for myself, right, go figure, instead of just listening to the guy in the front. And the scriptures I mentioned before in Jeremiah and Isaiah and Hosea, and Ezekiel, and reading them for myself, you could take it's like a checklist. You could say to yourself, did that happen in 1948? No. No. You go down the whole verse after verse. No. Then why are we saying it did? That was my whole thing. I got and then I saw a video with true Jewish people in New York City, like thousands of them, protesting the 1948 and protesting that flag, the Star of Remphan, that has nothing to do with David. The so-called Star of David has nothing to do with David. And I saw Orthodox Jewish rabbis by the thousands protesting that, and that's where I'm going, okay, something's going on here, because they're saying that thing is a violation of our Torah.
Of course.
And I'm going, wow, okay, I mean, this is not just some Gentile, conspiracy theorists over here now. I mean, you got authentic Jewish people looking at their Hebrew text and looking at the events that are happening currently and the events that led up to 1948 and, of course, the events of 1948 and saying, that's not right.
Yeah.
Rob, let me tell you, the sign of Israel is the menorah.
Right, correct. That's right.
It's not the David Star.
Right, exactly. Yeah, and that's what that's what the rabbis were saying. It's like if you're gonna
be on the flag, that's what should be on the flag.
Yeah, the menorah.
The menorah, not the Star of David.
I saw them saying that. I saw the Jewish rabbis that were protesting, saying, if we were going to have any symbol at all, it should be the menorah. But the Star of Rothschild, that's not us. That's what they were saying.
And that symbol alone goes way back.
Yeah, way back. Yeah, way back.
And one of the things I've thought is, they always show us things in plain sight. I think it's a form of mockery from the adversary himself. But one of the things is you have the triangle that points up, right?
Yeah.
Well, then you have the triangle that points down on the inside.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
As above, so below.
Yeah.
So it all goes back to the occultic side of it. There's always this little hidden thing there, and they put it right out. I mean, what a great scam to get people who say that the blood of Jesus washed them clean, and yet still get them to support this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel for you guys. I applaud you for doing this. I applaud you for doing this show. And if your feed happens to get taken down, it's on my channel also, because I'm streaming this also. So hopefully you can at least send a link. If for whatever reason your feed gets taken down.
Rob, let me tell you something, and also Rick, what we are doing in this channel and those programs, we are trying to union all, but not like a new world order. Yes, not this.
Right.
It's about only waking up, and waking up that we the Israeli people don't want layers and don't want names, don't want borders. We don't want wars. We don't want nothing that the government is saying that it's happening. Me as an Israeli, I don't feel threat about Arabs. I'm sorry. I don't feel threats.
We work with them.
We work with them. We live with them. Everything is okay. And it's really imagination what is happening in the media. And let me tell you something about waking up, my dear friends. In Genesis, you have a part that the Creator is putting Adam to sleep, and we all know how important is the words and the destruction, ביטוי, the meaning and the sense of the words that they are written. Okay.
Yeah.
And it was very important to put in Genesis that he put Adam to sleep. But it was not important to say he woke up. He never woke up. If you really listen and read, the truth is that when we are going to wake up, Adam is going to wake up. And this is why we have to open our eyes to the creation and the creator. Because if not, there is another sentence that's written in the Bible that says they have eyes, they have
Cannot
ears,
see.
and they cannot see and not hear.
Yeah.
We are asleep as Adam.
Yeah.
We are not wake up yet. It's like living in a dream. This is why there is a fight inside, and it's not outside. You have to you see, the fighting is not outside. It's not outside of this world. It's inside Earth. It's inside Earth. I mean, we didn't fix nothing. We didn't fix nothing in Earth. And they are trying to lie to us that there are another maybe planets, or maybe, I mean, oh my God, there are hungry people here. They don't have what to eat. They don't have, the system of money. I mean, how can it be possible that the government have money to put on I don't know what, a campaign, let's say a campaign of voting, and you are asking for poor people that don't have what to eat to vote for you, and you are spending the money for, I mean, why you don't give it to those people? I mean, it's same in English, it's same in Spanish, it's same in Hebrew, it's same in Arabic, it's same in all over the world.
Yeah.
We have one language, and it's the creation. That's it. And
Health.
and
Health, right?
health. Thank you very much. Thank you
You
very
know,
much.
I was a missionary for like over 6 years, and I went to China. And the organization that I was a part of specialized in what they called restricted access countries. And these were typically places where less than 2% of the population had any understanding of who Yeshua was, Jesus. And were typically Buddhist, Hindu, Muslim countries, a lot of times, atheist countries, hostile countries. So, we had to be very careful on how we did things. And when we were in China, we would basically, like, the rules were you couldn't openly evangelize. However, if the national instigated the conversation, you could continue it so long as they were willing to continue the conversation. So what I did was, I was a filmmaker. I was there documenting what was going on. So I had all my camera equipment. Well, just bringing the camera equipment alone is a talking piece, right? People see it. Hey, what are you doing, right? So, I'm sitting in a coffee shop next to a business school where, English is the international business language. So they were learning conversational English. The students from the college, the Chinese students from the college, would go to like the coffee shops or different places to practice conversational English, with anybody that they could meet that spoke English. So, I'm sitting there, and I look different than them, obviously. So, they come over to me and they want to talk conversational English with me. So typically what they say is, oh, what's all this? What do you do? And I said, well, it's my job to document what God is doing in different countries around the world. What do you mean? Boom, they kick the door open and I start conversation, right? So it was very simple, right? It was very easy for me to have these conversations. Well, this one guy I was talking to, he started getting, very kind of militant against the United States, against Americans. And you guys stick your business in everybody, everywhere else, and you got, 500 military bases set up all over the place, and you got blah, blah, blah. And, frankly, I'm not going to argue with him because he's right, But I said, you got it all wrong, man. I said, our government does stuff, yes. But,
Hang on a minute, guys. I got to step away for a minute.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's 300 plus million Americans that we just want to love each other and others. Like we just want to have families and friends, and that's it. And he made a statement that the Chinese people are a peaceful people. Now, I had just gotten in trouble. I was at the Forbidden City in was it Beijing? I think, I forget where it is now, but it's got the famous picture of Chairman Mao on the front. It's got this big red building. You've seen it in all the media and stuff, Tiananmen Square and all that. So I was there at Tiananmen Square in the Forbidden City, and I was videotaping stuff, and I saw this platoon of soldiers marching by, and they didn't like that so much, so I got in trouble for it, And so I have in my mind Red China, evil China, right? I have all of these, soldiers everywhere I go. In fact, they have what they call the Free Church in China. It's anything but free. Yeah, you're free to go to the church, but there's a guy with an AK-47 standing in the back, making sure that the pastor doesn't say anything out of line. That's not really a free church. Yes, it's open to the public, sure, but it's anything but freedom of speech, right? So I have all these things in my mind about what China is. Evil China. Even the media is always trying to get us, to pit human against human. But what I learned there was, this guy's saying the Chinese people are peaceful people, and I have in my mind something completely opposite. Just like he had in his mind something completely opposite about who I was. And that's when I realized, that was the moment I realized, you know what? Everywhere I've been, and I've been to over a dozen countries, everywhere I've been, the average person just wants to love and be loved. That's it. Yep. It's the governments and the media that are trying to pit us against each other. The Russians are evil, the Chinese are evil, the Muslims are evil, the Christians are evil, everybody's evil. It's the governments. They're the problem.
Yeah.
Divide and conquer. That's how it's called.
Well, my dear friends, if there is something that maybe you want to say to the Israeli people, I believe that we are going to do, with your permission, of course, more shows together, if you like, of course, because I find it very, very important and very. We must as human beings, not monkeys, we must plant seeds all the time and to make it, as the media and everything is doing, we have to do it same with the goodness. So, dear Rick Hammer and dear Rob Skiba, if you have something that you can say to the Israeli audience, to help me to open their eyes a little more, please, it's your stage if you want to say something directly.
Well, I just want to clarify, when we're talking against Zionism and against the state of Israel, we're not talking against the people.
Yeah.
Sure. I think that's important. A lot of times people, and they did it this way so that they would have that trump card, anti-Semitic, to throw out.
Yeah.
Oh, you're being anti-Semitic. Well, actually, if you even think about that, the Semites came from Shemites, Semites, Abraham. Okay, well, the Muslims are just as much Semitic as the Israelites are. So, but they say if you talk against a Jew, that's anti-Semitic. But you could talk against a Muslim. You could talk against a Palestinian or whatever. I'm like, okay, guys. I just want, at least from my perspective, I'm sure probably Rick agrees, at least as far as everybody on this call, we love you, and we understand that your people are just as much a victim of the system as our people are. We're taught, if not more so, probably more so. Well, not probably, a lot more. We don't deal with the kind of, terrorism and stuff that you guys have to deal with, unfortunately, on a daily basis. But we've been lied to here in this country. When I did my first book, Babylon Rising, this was a big thing, a wake-up call for me, and realizing my government and my country, by extension, is not what I was taught to believe it was. We were taught to believe that our founding fathers were Christians, and they were just like these amazing men of God. No, they weren't. They were Illuminists, they were Freemasons, they were Skull and Bones, and all kinds of other Hellfire Club, digging up bones in Benjamin Franklin's kitchen, all kinds of stuff. Like, they understood our Christianese, our Christian lingo, and they used it against us. And so when it says "we the people," I don't necessarily think it's talking about we the people as in the people watching this video right now. I think the people that was involved there was a select group of Illuminists that put together a plan, and there was an inside language. Now, so you got people out there that have a whole ministry and talking about how our founding fathers were Christians, and they use very select quotes that would lead us to believe that. And see, here's a picture of George Washington praying. Well, who was he praying to? That's my question. Our currency says "in God we trust," and I'm going, which God? Okay, because there's Yod He Vav He, who says don't have any other gods before me, and then there's all the other gods that he says don't have any other gods before me. So it's all in caps, right? They're hiding it, everything about the iconography on our currency is absolutely against the God of the Scriptures.
Annuit coeptus novus ordo
All
seclorum.
that crap. The Star of David is on our $1 bill with the Egyptian pyramid and the all-seeing eye. All
There it is.
all that stuff. That has nothing to do.
Well,
You
you have it in the Israeli
I know
Supreme Court.
the Supreme Court. You guys have
Oh
the
my
statue.
God.
The
I
Hebrew
mean-
University. You guys have the statue of Nimrod there.
Yeah,
Yeah. So you guys, I really see that you guys are just as
we
much
are
of
really suffering here. We're
Yeah.
really suffering here. I mean, let's not forget that Zion, the name of Zion is Jerusalem. That's
Right.
it. That's it. So it's not the Israeli people.
correct.
So
Right.
and Jewish the same. Judy is Judah. Judah came. He was the leader of. He was the king of Jerusalem, Zion. That's it, David. That's it. Nothing more. It's not
Yeah.
the Israeli people.
Yeah.
The
It's not a
Israeli people-
political
The Israeli
thing.
people
It's-
keep it simple. They keep it simple. They
Zion is Israel.
Keep it, no, it's not Israel.
It's Jerusalem.
It's Jerusalem. Yes, it's Jerusalem.
Yeah, I just, if anything I could say is we're not against
Yeah,
you, the people. I'm not against
No, not-
Jews, but I am against a system that is using both the Jewish people and that state that was established in 1948 to manipulate others all around the world to kill each other on a regular basis.
While their children don't go into the
Yeah,
wars.
their children don't go. So I just want I stand with you. I don't
Yeah.
stand with them.
I agree. And if I can add to that, the only thing I can say is I said it earlier, know why you believe what you believe, know where you come from, and also at the same time, when you come into this and you start to learn, you said earlier, Guy, I believe you said that, we're kind of back in prison, we're going back into Egypt, we're going back into this bondage. Well, the only thing that breaks you free from that bondage is the truth. And literally the truth will set you free. If you can see that it's a game being ran on your entire life and it's a system that's been developed by somebody that really doesn't like you and can't stand you, and there are some that would actually follow that scheme just so that they can remain on top while there's death and all kinds of things. The world's ran by a death and sex cult.
Yeah.
Well, that's the devil. That's the adversary. Because when Adam and Eve were first created, they weren't created to die. So, this is all part of their God. Their God is not the Most High. Their God is not the one that would shed his own blood or shed his son's blood and to show and prove to you that I prophesied this would happen, and this did happen, and now here we go. Hold on to your hats, kids, because it's going to come to pass.
Yeah.
And this message isn't an easy message to deliver in this day and this age. But what I can say is if you do it, and I need to work on this myself, obviously, but you got to deliver the message with love and out of kindness and out of concern, not panic. Yeah. Although I know I probably look panic. I get my eyes look all funky, like you gotta hear me. But it's the truth though, because it is passion. It's a passion that I didn't have in me before, and there's no way I created this passion inside of me on my own. And my ears back here and my eyes right here, they didn't work before.
Yeah.
They were chasing the world. They were chasing all this stuff. And yes, I mean, do I still work and feed my family by creating videos and commercials and that? Yeah, that's what I do. I mean, Daniel was an accountant. So, I mean, for a king that didn't want even, that was able to put him in, to a lion's den. So I look at this and go, I'm in the system. That doesn't mean that I have to be of the system. And that's what Rob is saying. We're not at war with you. We don't hate you. We don't dislike you. It's that we want more of you to wake up and take the courage that Guy, you and Marcos have to, I mean, come on. I can only imagine what you guys would go through walking down the street when some of the people that disagree with you see this video or see any of your videos and what you guys are talking about. And I hats off to you. My heart goes out to you and your families and everybody that's chasing truth in Israel right now, because I know that your media is just as corrupt as ours is. I mean, the media in the world is nothing but a propaganda machine.
Yeah.
That's all it is. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, anyway, long story short, you know, yes, the love is coming from this side to you, from this camera to your screens, and I just hope that you know you diligently seek the truth and seek those answers and ask the Most High for the guidance and the eyes and ears to see. And that's Proverbs 20:12, the hearing ear and the seeing eye. The Lord hath made even both of them. So if He's made your eyes and ears, He knows how they work. And I would just say, go to Him humbly for those answers and ask Him to lead in spirit and in truth, and He will. And that's a promise that He's given to us in writing. So there you go.
Amen.
Well, amen, of course. And dear Rick and dear Rob, I think that we had a really great show for this moment. And what you think, Marcus?
Everything has been said.
Everything is been said. Yeah.
Well,
Rob, are you with us?
I'm honored. I'm honored that you guys had us on. I'm honored that you reached out and said would like to do a show, because it shows me that you know I can be here in Indiana, Rob can be in Texas, and you guys can be there in Israel, and you know the common denominator is a love for truth.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter where you're at. If you have a love for truth, He's going to connect us, and I believe that's the common denominator. Is the spirit of truth, and I believe it's being poured out over all the nations as we speak.
This is why we are here.
Yeah, I agree. Amen.
Rob, last words?
Last words. Well, you know, we're going into, well, I guess it depends on what calendar you're keeping, but the calendar that my home Bible fellowship keeps has us has the Yom Teruah, Feast of Trumpets, coming up on the 30th, I believe. So, you know, this is a joyous season and a sober season to go into. You know, going into Yom Teruah, Yom Kippur,
אנחנו
Sukkot.
מחכים לראות, היה לנו עוד פעם ניתוק. We have a little disconnect again.
We hear you.
Maybe we are going to go on
I hear him
more,
fine.
maybe...
Yeah, we hear him.
We'll see.
סגור את זה.
נראה.
Ah,
מה, זהו? נסיים את זה כאילו?
כן, תגיד להם שביי ביי ותודה.
bummer.
חושב?
כן, כן, כי הם בדיוק בסוף זה נסגר.
Uh-oh.
כן.
Can you hear us?
זה לא מה לעשות.
No. I mean, we're still connected on Skype.
מצד אחר גם בא לי מאוד סיגר אז.
Let me see if I can text him.
תגיד להם רק תודה רבה.
Hang on a second.
נגיד תודה רבה. אוקיי, אז
Thank Rob that we've done this before.
אני אומר לכולם תודה רבה, בשמי, בשם
Hang on.
מרקוס, בשם רוב.
Oh, they just I just started typing. Oh, you did too.
See and hear you. And then you wrote still here at the same time.
Right as we're writing, we're still here. They click.
Awesome.
Bummer. Well, we had a good.
Hey, and there's their studio if you're looking at the Facebook side of it. But they were green screen the whole time.
Yeah, they were
Just
green screened.
that's funny. Well, all I can tell you, man, is
They may call back. We'll have to.
oh, there they are. I think they are calling us back. Maybe not. I'll tell you what, man. You talk about gutsy to be over there,
Yeah.
honestly, and be talking about this stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty. I wonder if I can add him. Hang on a second.
What am I looking at? Are we? We're on Skype, right? You and
Yeah,
I?
what you're seeing on the screen is my Skype window.
Okay.
Let
What is that thing?
me switch over so I can mess around with this. 'Cause I'm using OBS, so I've got multiple things going on over here. Let me see if I can. It's guy. I might be able to just add him to the call.
Yeah.
I'll try that. See if he comes.
I love this. I love this T-shirt. Marcos's T-shirt.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I'm ringing them. Let's see if they.
Yeah, hey Rob.
Hey, there you go.
Hey, you guys are there. Okay.
Yeah, well, I said I here in Israel I said to everybody goodbye, and I said to them because it was the end of the show, and I don't know if you come back or not, but I told them of course bye bye, and everything was
Thank you, Dad.
yes. Uh, it's very important. It's very important all of this because. My friends, the Israeli people want to wake up, and I see it in our television, internet television that we make. People really are hungry for truth, really truth.
Yeah. Well, and that's just it. And I do believe, like I was saying, I believe the Most High is the one that's putting that on them. I mean, how
Yeah,
else could you? How else, if the flesh is cursed, okay? If we know that the flesh is cursed, going all the way back into Genesis, how could we, in a day and age right now, where you can get on this thing and find anything you want, you can find anything to covet, you can purchase anything on this thing, and you can look at anything you want to look at. So let's see if you're whether or not you're a gambler, whether or not you're into porn, whether or not you're into food, whatever. This thing can literally take you to every idol outside of God that you could ever want.
correct.
And for us to actually want to pick this thing up and use this device to actually learn about His truth, that's a gift, and that's something that only God could give. There's no way any of us. Well, first of all, none of us woke up one morning and said we want to be flat earthers. None of us woke up one morning and said I want to believe in the Most High's truth so that someday I might even have to lose my head.
Yeah,
I mean, that's all God gives us that. I mean, that's got to be put in us. Um,
true.
so all the credit goes to Him, man. And like I said, I'm humbled that I couldn't sleep last night knowing that I was going to be doing this with you guys today, because Rob and I have
Yeah,
done some fun stuff together, and we like to have a lot of fun. And I'm more of a class clown than Rob, but Rob can be right there with me. But I'm just saying that, this is the type of thing that, I want to take this serious. I'm kind of I'm more laid back and doing some other things. Rob is really between the two of us, Rob's more of the analytical and more of the, Rob's like a big brother to me. I watch Rob and I've learned things from Rob, and I can take what Rob's done and I can look at what he's done. And, I always have to look at that and go, wow, and let me analyze this. And I can go, well, okay, I can get this. And I've done that with many other guys before. But Rob and I are close in age, but we're a lot alike in so many things. But I can see how God has used Rob in certain things, and how God has used me in certain things, how God is using you to do certain things. And we all have these little tasks that when you finally realize, it's like, well, if each one of these little tasks or each person is a pebble, it's kind of funny how if you threw those into a fishbowl, you can actually get the dirty water out of the fishbowl by putting clean rocks in. By the
yeah,
time and it's just, to me, it's amazing to see all these little pieces coming together, man. And I'm, like I said, I'm honored and humbled, and I could not sleep last night thinking, what is it? That's why I sent you that message so late last night on my time. I'm like, what are we even talking about? So it was great. I'm very honored and like I said, humbled that I'm even doing this. I would have never thought this 20 years ago. I can tell you that.
well, I think that there is an idea. You can choose a day and bring an hour every week to the Israeli people and have your own show on our channel. I think it's very, very. I think it's going to be very, very great. I mean, like you are like connected as an infus,
Yeah.
uh, and Israel is. I don't think that Israel is more than somebody or something else. But as you said before, of course, we are in the heart of the flame, really.
Yeah.
Uh, and I think that this support that having people like you as a part of this setting free. I mean, we can have this. We act that live can be a really a gate, a truth gate for truth. I mean,
This is what I'm trying to do to unite all the researchers and the people that really got it.
Yeah.
I mean, the truth without agendas, of course. So this is something that Rick and Rob, you can maybe think of it.
Yeah,
Maybe being a part also.
Saturdays are good for me typically because it is Shabbat and I'm not working. So I can't always do it, but if we do it, this is actually a good time time period that we did today.
Yeah.
That would probably work in the future.
Well,
Yeah.
let's talk about it during the weekend, and let's see how it absorb and we see what is comfortable for you, of course.
Yeah. Yeah. I know my wife's behind it today. Rob, you'll get a kick out of this because Sheila's been, I've gotten to witness Sheila with you at the conferences and whatnot, even been in your home. And, she's so behind you in so many ways. And today my wife said, she said this to me. She goes, I just got to tell you, I love you. And I said, what do you mean? We say that all the time, but the way she said it, she's like, I get it now. I go, wait, because she's finally breaking out in her creativity. She started to sing, and my wife can sing. She can really sing.
She really
and
can.
She's got a gift, and I want her to sing. And she's just kind of been shy. I think that's just whatever's going on. But she said, now I get it. She's like, so when you have something creative come and hit you, and you know that it's something that you have to do, it's hard for you to shut that off, isn't it? And I went, yeah. She was, I get where now I understand. I understand you now. She said that today. She goes, I understand you now. And I was like, yeah. Now can I buy that camera?
Yeah. I tell you, my friends, I tell you the truth. If I don't feel that I have a mission to do here in Israel, I don't stay here 1 second. Believe me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I feel I'm in a mission, a really truth mission, because the Israeli government give me all the reasons not to stay here.
Oh yeah, and it's happening here too, Guy. Just so you know.
Yeah. We have. In fact,
brother.
Sheila and I frequently have the conversation. We live in Texas, and I have hope because Texas is the only state in the union that is allowed to fly its flag at the same height as the United States flag. Like all other states in the United States have to fly it subordinate to the American flag. Part of the provision of Texas saying, yeah, okay, we'll join up with you is we're going to have the right to leave if we want to, and we're equal with you, and the Lone Star State, right? So I hold out because the nation seems like it's going to hell in a handbasket, and I think, okay, if we're going to stay in America, I'm glad we're in Texas, at least at the moment. But I mean, between 5G and chemtrails and all kinds of other stuff going on, we frequently have the conversation of, are we ever going to leave here? And if we do, where are we going to go? And I don't have an answer to that. But there was a Passover conference that we went to a few years ago, and Norm Franz was leading it, and he made a statement that really put me at ease. And he said, "Your Goshen is wherever God has you." And by that, if you think about the Exodus, they were in Egypt going through hell, right? And the plagues were coming, and they experienced 3 of the 10 plagues. But the remaining 7 of the 10 plagues, the nation of Israel was preserved in Goshen while Egypt was getting the judgment. And so Norm was like, look, wherever in the world you are, that's your Goshen until God moves you. So I'm like, okay, because I'm starting to think prepping, and we didn't have the money, we didn't have the resources, we didn't have the ability to prep, so I'm, as an Army guy, former Boy Scout, and all that stuff, I was kind of stressing out about it, and it was like, what?
What are we gonna do with Walmart?
Yeah, you got to get the 4 G's, right? God, gold, guns, and groceries, right? You got to have the 4 G's, but when he said that, your Goshen is wherever God has you, it just a peace just sat on top of me. Like, okay, I'm here until he calls me out of here. And I believe that, when this greater Exodus thing happens, I could walk out the door of this room and end up wherever God wants me to be. Just boom, like that. So
and I got to tell you, man, you and I had that conversation. I think it was when we drove down to Austin, when I came to your house a couple years ago, and we drove down to that conference, and you and I were having that conversation about leaving, and you said, you actually put some peace on me just saying that and talking about those things, because I left here before, and I left here maybe prematurely, but I know that I had to go and do some things and say some things, and I don't, whatever. I just wanted to be obedient, but some of that I acted on my own, and it cost me time with friends and family, but ultimately I wasn't at peace when I left. I wasn't at peace when I left. I was, part of me was maybe trying to save my own skin, and in doing so, man, you really learn some lessons, but more importantly, you just saying that again just confirms it's like I am at peace where I am. I'm not afraid to be here in the States right now. Obviously, Guy, you're not afraid to be there. If you were, you wouldn't be doing this show. You wouldn't be doing these topics and saying these things. And I honestly believe the only strength that we get is going to come from him. And I just find it fascinating that, once again, like I said, 20 years ago, I would have never thought that I would be doing this type of work and saying this. And, I do know this, that if the time comes and I feel like God's saying, now, get out.
Go.
I'm not going to second guess it. I will not second guess it.
Let me tell you that a lot of people are saying to me, I mean, oh my God, Guy, what you are doing? I mean, you have kids, you have your own career as a producer. I mean, there is a lot of things that you can lose. I mean, I said I don't have nothing to lose. I have like I have the creator that pushing me to do what I'm doing. And as I tell you before, I never dreamed to make a channel open for all the people in Israel. I mean, and it's getting on and on and on, and more people and more people. I mean, it's like, I cannot stop it.
No, you're not going to be able to stop it. If it's his will, it's going to happen, man.
Well, it's happening.
Scripture over and over.
It's happening, my friend.
His will to be done. You got to pray for His will to be done, because it's gonna be anyway. I mean, whether we like it or not. And I'd rather be on His side.
I'm really happy, because I'm knowing and getting a lot of people, and as I listen of people telling me you are a crazy man, you talk about conspiracies, and same goes to people that said to me, well, thank you, Guy, because of you and because of what you are doing and people are doing in the channel, we are more open for the truth, the real truth. I mean, they feel alive. So this is it, and this is what we make today in this show, this specifically show. And yes, of course, I thank you for your time, of course, and
yeah, same too. And I'm glad you reached out. So yeah, let's talk again, and
yeah, of course,
this will be great. Wonderful stuff, man. You guys want to pray before we get off of here?
Well, go for it.
All right, here we go. Father Almighty, we just come before you right now, Yahweh. We just ask that you just put angels of protection around us as we continue to move throughout our journey here. Father, I did not see this coming. Obviously, you always throw great surprises and wonderful, conversations and new faces and places at me. And I can't say thank you enough for that, because it is continuously humbling, that it makes me realize that I am not in control, that this is all part of your work and your handiwork, and you've got your hands all over our lives. And I just ask, Father, that no matter what it is, if our adversary comes at us, that you give us the strength to keep our armor on, that we would actually do what you would have us do, that we would act according to your will, not of our own. And I just cannot say thank you enough for the gifts that you have given us, most importantly, the gift of our eyes and our ears, that they would work in conjunction with our minds and that you would continue to work on our hearts, that be a place for you to live in spirit through us, and that we could act according to your will and do things, that you would be able to do things through us and continue to do that. So I just ask for a special blessing over Guy's family, and of course Marcos's family and Rob's family. I just ask that you do the same with my family, that you would keep us protected in these days ahead, and that whatever it is that you would have us do, Father, I just ask now, speaking for my brothers here, that we just ask, make a covenant with you, that whatever it is that you would have us do, that we would take that and we would welcome that with open arms and with shoes that fit just fine, and that we would not be afraid to take the steps in which that you would need us to take. So again, I just say thank you. Thank you for the blood of Yeshua. Thank you for the prophecies of Yeshua and the kingdom that is yet to come, and that we can serve in that kingdom in the now before it even puts its base down in its resting place. So again, we say thank you. Pray for the orphans and the widows right now, and those that are helpless, those that are seeking for answers. I just pray that the words that we speak, not just what we spoke today, but what we speak in the future, can be used to plant seeds and to bring the fish into the nets that you would have us do. So again, we say thank you, we love you, and we are honored and humbled that we are able to even say your name and to serve in the now. In Christ, Yeshua, amen.
Amen.
Well, you have double amen from Israel.
Awesome, man.
Awesome.
Well, thanks, guys. Enjoyed it.
Yep, we'll talk
Okay.
soon, man. Rob, I'll get with you. I'll be seeing you soon. You got a big day tomorrow too.
I got a big
be fun.
date tomorrow. What's going on tomorrow?
Aren't you going to Ponch's house?
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I've got a meetup group tomorrow. Thank you. I'm going.
Yeah.
I was like a deer in the headlights. Wait a
Hey,
minute.
man, I told you to take
What-
on the world. I'm your
what-
secretary.
What am I doing? What am I doing now? Yeah, awesome. All right, guys. Thank you so much. Enjoyed it.
God, reach out anytime, brother. We're here.
Shalom, shalom.
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 And everybody in the chat room, thank you. And until next time, see you later.